Good morning. Thank you for being here today. If you want to follow along, we will be in the second chapter of James, looking at the 14th verse. And there James writes these words: What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? I want to point out two words to begin with: my brethren. James is writing to believers in this verse. He's been talking about discrimination and partiality, but now he's going to go on and broaden a little bit as he talks about how we live a life that contradicts what we say we believe. And what James wants us to understand here is that it is possible to have a faith that is of no value, a faith that has no good works. He says, what good is it? What does it profit to say you have faith, but you have no works? He says, can that kind of faith save him? Now, let's deal with the elephant in the room here. Some look at this and say, well, wait a minute. What James is saying is contradicting Paul when Paul said that a man is justified by faith apart from the works of the law in the book of Romans chapter 3. And what we have to understand here is they're not talking about the same thing. They're not talking to the same people. Paul is telling us what a person has to do to be saved. He's saved by faith, not by works. James, as I pointed out, is writing to his brethren, to people who are already saved. And James is saying this is what salvation looks like. This is not how you get salvation. This is how you show and prove that you do have salvation, is that a relationship with God results in works. And so they're talking about entirely two different things. Again, Paul is talking about how a person comes to saving faith. James is talking to the brethren about what saving faith then looks like in a person's life. And he says a faith that doesn't produce works, a faith that isn't evidenced by good works, he says that faith would appear to be a false faith. Again, he's not doing anything that proves that he has truly believed in Christ. He's not doing anything that gives evidence that Christ is living in his life. And he says, what good is that faith? Anybody can say they have faith. I suppose I could train a parrot to say he had faith. But take someone who has genuine faith, James says, for it to reveal itself in long-standing, enduring works. And so that's a real thought-provoking passage for us in the church today, that many come through our doors, many come through our baptistries, saying they have faith, but there's no works that evidence that faith. Again, we don't have to have works to be saved. But again, James, writing to the brethren, says if you have faith, it will show up in a changed lifestyle. It will show up in compassion. It will show up in not showing the favoritism and partiality that he's been discussing here. It will show up in church attendance and witnessing and those kind of things. Genuine faith produces works, just as a fruit tree produces fruit. And he says we will produce works. So hope you'll think about that today and ask ourselves real harsh question for us to look in the mirror and say, is my faith producing any fruit? Is my faith producing any works? And I hope you think about that today. Have a good one. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.